We are back with World Tour nutritionist Nigel Mitchell to bring you some more recipes from our brand new GCN book, The Plant Based Cyclist. Of course, all of the ingredients and the methods are within the book, but we're going to go through them on video for you here today. Amongst the recipes we're going to do are a post-ride meal, always the most rewarding and tasting in my opinion, apart from desserts, which is one of the other ones. Exactly what are we doing today, Nigel?
So we're going to do a corn bolognese, and that's going to be accompanied with mixed grains. Also, we're going to do some tofu on the side, and the dessert is going to be pistachio gelato, dairy-free gelato. And when my mother had this, she said it was the best ice cream that she'd ever tasted, so I think you're going to enjoy it.
Brilliant. Well, I think we should crack through the first few meals so we can get straight onto the gelato then.
Well, the thing obviously we're cooking is about preparation, so we're going to start off by chopping some of the vegetables up. The first thing what I'm going to do is make a very simple marinade for the tofu. So we don't need to marinate it for a long time, but we'll just get that prepared first. We've got a piece of ginger, which is about 20 grams, 1 clove of garlic, soy sauce, and also a secret ingredient, Henderson's relish.
Never heard of it.
No, well, Henderson's relish, it's only found in Yorkshire. You can get it online, so our international audience can still get it. But it's a plant-based version of Worcester sauce. Worcester sauce has got anchovies in,
right?
But this is a great sort of savoury that you can add to anything.
I was going to say the bottle looks very similar to a Worcester sauce
Very,
bottle.
very similar, but it isn't. It's made in Sheffield, but it's not Worcester sauce.
Local ingredients.
Local ingredients. Right, so we're just making the marinade. So I've chopped up the garlic, the ginger, I've put it in here with a good slurp of soy sauce, some of the Henderson's relish, a little bit of a drizzle of olive oil, and now I'm just going to put the tofu in.
It didn't seem to have to be that accurate with the slurps.
Oh, no.
A couple of glugs of each bit.
No, I think with something like this, you actually get a better result if you just go on feel.
Okay.
And so we've just put that in, and just like that sort of marinade, doesn't have to be.
You don't want to go and taste.
No.
Feel.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I've never really tasted it. 'Cause I don't think,
Oh, brilliant.
No,
Right.
but only when it's cooked. I've not tasted like the raw marinade, so let's give it a little taste. Yeah, that's why I've never tasted it. It's a raw marinade. But no, it's tangy, tangy.
I'll have a taste myself, but you just put your finger back in.
No, I didn't. I put that finger back in, I kept it out. I purposely kept the finger out. You want a little taste?
Well, you just gave me the finger then as well. Okay, go on then. Yeah, it should be better when it's cooked.
Yeah, it's definitely better when it's cooked. Okay, so I've been preparing the onions, the leeks, and the garlic for the bolognese. But before we start cooking that, I'm going to cook the mixed grains.
Yep.
I'm going to use the rice cooker for the mixed grains. You can use a stove top, it's just as easy, but I like to use the rice cooker. And I've gone for 4 mixed grains here. So we've got quinoa, pearl barley, pearl spelt, and basmati rice. So,
all ingredients with a specific purpose in mind, presumably, with recovery after your ride.
It's all about recovery. This is all about delivering good carbohydrate to the body, but also nutritionally. The fact that we're mixing these grains means that we're getting a really wide blend of nutrients, in particular the proteins. Things like quinoa, which is known as a pseudo grain, so it's not really a grain, it's a seed. That contains all of the essential amino acids. It's also really good in healthy fats as well. And up until recently, I weren't aware that they now grow it in the UK.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yorkshire?
No, Ambridge. But what we do is I rinse the rice, the barley, and the spelt, and that's just really to remove if there's any bits of debris in there, but any additional starch as well. Also, the other thing to mention is that if somebody was gluten-free, you wouldn't use the barley or the spelt.
Okay, and you don't wash the quinoa?
No, don't wash the quinoa, because the quinoa, with it being so small, when I've tried to wash it before, it all sort of just runs away.
It just lost it
in the water.
Yeah.
One of the
lost quinoa. Right?
The other thing that you could use as an alternative is amaranth, which is another one of these pseudo grains. So again, nutritionally, this is fantastic. This is again all of the essential amino acids, and it's also great with some of the healthy fats. But we're just sticking with these today. So we've added all the grains and we've washed the rice
Mm.
and the other grains. Then added the quinoa.
Okay. And how much water do we need, Nigel? Sorry, I said it like that because he said to give you something to do, you can ask me how much water we need. So I've just done that.
Could have just been stood there. So basically, it's 2 to 1. So it's twice as much water to grains.
Yeah.
So we've got 400 grams of grains.
800.
Dan, if you don't mind putting the
Ready.
pot in the rice cooker and switching it on, it's 2 buttons.
All right.
Menu.
Is that here?
Menu's there, mate.
Yeah. That's where it says menu.
Yeah. So we just go for the white rice and press start. That's it.
Okay, and how long is that going to take?
It takes about 25-30 minutes. So that's why I put that on now. And what I tend to do with this is I'll cook it in a batch, so you can then use it for multiple meals, and it'll stay. You put whatever's left over in the fridge, and it's fine for a couple of days.
Okay, and how many people will this feed?
Well, it depends on what you've been doing and how much food you're wanting. But roughly, that's about 4 portions that's in there.
Or one side portion.
On one side portion, yeah. But everyone's that little bit different. But roughly, one portion of that will give about 70 grams of carbohydrate, which is about 1 gram per kilogram for a lot of bike riders.
On to the bolognese.
Yeah, so we've got the pan on the hob. That's just warming up. We've got to get things in the right order. So we put a glug of olive oil in. That's about a tablespoon. Just let that warm up a little bit, and you can tell when olive oil is just going to the right temperature, because as it gets warmer, it gets more runny. It's less viscous. So just give that a second to warm up. I'm not wanting it super hot.
It smells great. I love the smell of olive oil.
I do. I'm not wanting to make it too hot because I don't want to burn things, but just want to get it nice and warm. And then basically all of the
garlic onion.
All go in there, all straight in. And you can hear it's not sizzling, it's not frying. It's just going to cook it nice and steady. And so we'll soften all of this before we put any more ingredients in. And I'm going to put a couple of bay leaves in as well, and give that a little stir. So now the onions, garlic and leeks have softened a bit, I'm just going to add the lentils.
Is there any particular reason for... Sorry, you just asked me to ask a question again. I can't do it with a straight face. What's the reason for the lentils in the ingredients?
Well, I'm using lentils in the ingredients for a couple of things. One, from a nutritional point of view, so we're getting a different mixture of proteins in there, but also it's from a texture perspective, because we're using corn, and corn, the texture of it is just a very uniform, even texture. So by putting the lentils in, it just mixes the texture up a little bit as well. So I'll just add those. I'm just going to add a couple of vegetable stock cubes to that as well, just for a bit of flavour. Right, doing a grand job with that stir in there. I'm just going to add the tomatoes. Just put water in. We don't want to waste any. There we go. Quick stir. I'm also going to put a little slurp at the end of some relish in as well.
Big slurp.
The lentils are absorbing a lot of the fluid from the tomatoes, so I'm just going to add a little bit more water to it. Just put about 150 mils in there, because again, when we add the corn, they absorb quite a bit of water as well. And what we'll do, as it gets cooking a little bit more, I'm going to add some tomato puree to it as well, so it makes it nice and red. So while this is cooking, this is only going to take about another 10-15 minutes. Let's cook the tofu, please, Dan.
In the air fryer.
In the air fryer. As my mother calls it, an air dryer, but you wouldn't want to put your head in there. So just put them in, put the tofu in. Don't do that because it'll pour all over. So just actually pick it up and put the tofu in.
Oh, I see, sorry.
Yeah. That's it. I know you haven't used one before, so it's just getting used to it.
I've used an air dryer.
Yeah, but not the air fryer.
No.
So don't confuse the two. You can see now with the colour of this how it's absorbed a lot of the marinade there. Right, so you just place it in there, please, Dan. Excellent. And then you just press the on button and just press start. That's it. So you can change it, but it's preset to 15 minutes at 180 degrees, and that should be about right. Okay. So we just let that cook. So these air fryers, I find them great for cooking all sorts of things in, mixed vegetables, peppers, courgettes,
chips,
aubergine. I don't cook chips in it. I think if you're going to have chips, I want real chips, not that's been cooked in something like that. Yeah. This is looking a bit anemic, so I'm just going to add some tomato puree to that, and this will be like a good dollop.
Okay.
So about that much.
That's much redder now.
Yeah, will be when we just stir it in. And one of the things people will be wondering is seasoning. So we've not added any salt or pepper to it yet. So we'll add some salt and pepper towards the end. I prefer to add it when things are cooked than at the beginning. Right, just need to give this a little stir. They're looking really good.
They do look nice, yeah.
Yeah. So this is really nearly cooked now. So what I want to do is just add the corn to it. So we're using corn really as a protein source, and corn originally wasn't vegan, wasn't suitable for vegan.
Right.
No, because they put egg in it to bind out. But now corn's brought out a vegan range, so this is egg-free.
Yeah.
And corn is really quite an interesting protein source because it's basically fungus that's been fermented. So it's what's called a mycoprotein, and it contains all of the essential amino acids as well. In effect, it doesn't really need a lot of cooking, so you've got to be careful not to overcook corn. So what I tend to do is I add it when things are cooked and have it in for about 5 minutes so it all heats through.
Right.
This is a fresh version, but you can obviously get frozen as well. I'm just going to add that. Right, so everything's pretty much cooked now.
All kind of cooked by the same point, didn't it? Magically, almost like you timed it.
Yeah, it's just a bit of planning. All comes together really, really easy. So we can see with this now, I think, looks amazing.
Does look really good.
And you
Can't
can
wait to taste it. I've got to do a ride first, though.
Yeah, you've got to go on your bike first. And I was mentioning about texture, and you can see the textures with it. If it would have just been the corn, I think it would just be a little bit more sort of bland texture.
Yeah.
So I'm
and if it hadn't been for the tomato puree, wouldn't it be quite as red either?
No. I mean, some of the other things you can add to it is things like paprika and things like this. You can spice it up a little bit. You can even put chilies in if you want. But this is just a base sort of plant-based ragu type of sauce. I mean, just interestingly, when we were thinking of this as Bolognese sauce, so the Giro started in Bologna this year.
Did, yeah.
And that's
2019 if you're watching this in future years.
Yeah, and that's obviously where the Bolognese sauce originates from. In effect, this is so far removed from it. The only thing that's similar is that we've got some tomatoes in it, because in the sort of, the original authentic type of sauces, they put all sorts of offcuts in, like chicken lungs and things like that,
right.
Which obviously doesn't go with a plant-based recipe.
No, not really. I like how you say Bologna perfectly, but Bolognese.
Again, it's coming from Yorkshire, see, so I'm just going to add a little bit of salt in there. Squirt of black pepper, I like black pepper. And then we've got some fresh parsley that I've chopped, so
Pre-prepared.
Put that in. And I've got a special plate for you now.
Yeah, I saw that over there. I thought that might be a joke. Thank you. Can I get a slightly bigger plate?
You can have a slightly bigger plate.
I'm actually really looking forward to tucking in. So we're going to eat it before we crack on with making the gelato.
Yeah, absolutely, because the gelato just takes literally a minute.
But I better have a reasonably small portion because I didn't get around to doing my ride. I'm looking forward to this, though.
Yeah, I mean, what you find with the mixed grains, it has a really nutty texture and flavour. And again, it's really important, I think, to get, when you're looking at plant-based food, thinking about the texture, also the mixing of the different foods, so we're getting such a range of nutrients. And the way that we've done the tofu, you could use this then as the base for things like putting in a risotto, having on the sides as an accompaniment, or you could, just eat it as a nibble by itself. But tofu is obviously made from soya milk, and the soya milk that they use to make the tofu is fortified with calcium, so you're getting calcium and the protein in there.
Brilliant. So it looks tasty, it looks healthy. Good, this.
Yeah, you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it, but you're going to make the ice cream for me whilst I'm finishing it off.
Yeah, well, obviously, with that, this is what we prepared earlier, because it needs to be frozen. And the way that we made this was that we got the pistachios and we milled them down so it was almost like a nut butter, so they become really, really creamy. I heated up a can of coconut milk, added some crushed cardamoms. Once the coconut milk were getting warm, added the pistachios and some sugar to that, stirred it all in. When I was happy with it, put it in this silicone tray, and you'll notice I didn't fill them up entirely, and I've done that because it's just easier then for us to blend it down. So what I do with this then is we put it in the food processor, blend it down, and we get a really, really nice gelato type texture, and then we eat it.
That's it?
That's it.
Quick.
Quick and easy. So the great thing with these silicone trays is they just pop out. Okay, so we've got it all in there. I'm going to put the lid on and then give it a whiz.
How long does it take?
5-6 seconds. So we just close it up and...
You say you can do cocktails in this as well?
Yeah, you do cocktails, all sorts, isn't it?
Do that after dessert, maybe.
So just listening to that sounds like it's already been cutting up, so just switch it off, probably give it a little stir, and maybe... Oh no! That's pretty good. And there you go, mate. Tell me what
Looks good.
Yeah.
Here's a taste test. Oh, terrible. No, one sec. Yeah, I like that.
You like it?
I do like that.
You wouldn't think that there's no dairy in it, would you?
No, not at all. So again, something for post-ride, what benefits is this giving you nutritionally?
Well, from a nutrition point of view, to be really honest with you, this is a bit of a treat. So
nothing.
Well, no, I won't go as far as saying nothing, but it's a treat. I mean, you've got to have some treats. So what we've got in it is pistachios, which is a really good protein source, and obviously the coconut milk. So we're getting some good fats, we're getting some proteins. The colouring in the pistachios is really antioxidants. And then I finished it off with some 85% cocoa chocolate. And if you look at that technically, then that's really high in cocoa flavonoids.
Good for you, is it?
Well, it's good for your brain, so it opens up the blood vessels in the brain. Helps you to
I've got an idea then. We'll have like a posh flake in the top. There you go. Actually, your Michelin star technique, complete with a bit of chocolate in the top. That looks good.
And because it's a bit of an Italian sort of theme, I'm having a little espresso with mine as well.
Yeah, this is about your 5th today. Not sure if that's good for your brain.
No, I think that's too much.
That was brilliant, Nigel. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, mate.
We should also thank Nigel for all of his work on the book. And just to remind you, it is available at shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com. We'd love your feedback, in fact, on all the recipes if you do try them out at home. You can leave that in the comment section just down below. Now, if you happen to watch this video before the ones that came before it, Nigel was with Sai yesterday. They made a couple of videos where you can see a pre-ride meal, I was about to say post-ride then, a pre-ride meal and some things that you can take out on your bike with you as well. And you can find them here and here.